Hey, so welcome everyone to the training masterclass. If you haven't watched the previous two, then make sure you go back and watch those first before you hit this, okay? Because it's all in order. It's things that you need to tick off before you get to the next. So, this is the training masterclass, how to push in your training, how to progress in your training. If you feel like you're not making any progress in certain areas, this is how you're going to master that. Okay, so who's this training for? So similar to the last masterclasses, this is for anyone whether you've got no structure at all, if you've got a rough routine, or you follow a plan right now, these are the things that you need to do to start making some serious progress on your journey. So, first of all, it's going to be all about your schedule. Okay, it's a non-negotiable that you need to start booking your sessions into a calendar, whether it be your phone calendar, Google Calendar, whatever it is. You need to book it like a GP appointment. Okay. Now, the most important thing is that you don't just find time, because if you say you're going to find time to go to the gym, it's never going to happen. You need to make it. Okay. So go into your calendar, whether it's your phone, whether you download a calendar app, if you've got one on your fridge or in the kitchen, write down the days that you're going to go to the gym and write down the times as well. Because unless you do that, you don't have a plan. It's just going off feeling. And if you just go off feeling, you're never going to see the progress that you want. Okay. So if your answer was no, then what you would do is you just follow the arrows down here. Again, like all of our flow charts. No, you need to do that now. And then you need to send a screenshot to myself. Okay. Once you've then done that and sent that screenshot, you can then work background and then you can follow the arrow for yes. Okay. So these are the systems. When I talk about systems, having systems in place that you need to follow, these master classes are those systems because unless you have these first steps in each category, you're never going to be able to push forward to the next step. Okay. So until you've done this, you can't move forward. Open a calendar, whether it's on your phone, a paper-based one, whatever it is, write down the time that you're going to go to the gym, whether it's before work, after work, I don't care. Put it in a calendar, make it a thing, because if you just go off feeling, you'll never end up going. So once you've had your accountability and you sent me a screenshot, you can then move on to the next one. So now that you've got those in your calendar and you know when you're going to be training, what you need to start doing is tracking and logging your workouts. Okay. So for those of you that are in the program, you will have access to the training app. And all well and good having access to that training app, but I know some of you guys don't even log the workouts. Like you just look at the app, you follow it, and then you message me and you're like, oh, okay, like I've done the workout, blah, blah, blah. You need to log every single weight, every single repetition, and you need to submit it and rate it based on how you felt every single time you work out. Okay? Because what gets measured gets managed. Okay? The last thing you want to do is be walking into a gym, going up to a chest press, and then trying to push 35 kg when last week you pushed 35 kg. Or maybe you've had like a bad week. So you roll up at the gym, you're like, oh, it's not been too good today. Just pushing like 15 kg because you didn't actually see what you pushed previous week before. If you know on average that you're hitting 35, 35, 35, 35, just because you've had a bad week doesn't mean that you can't push 35. Okay? You're just going off emotion. And again, if you're just going off emotion, you're never going to see the progress that you want. So you need to start using the app, start logging your workouts. So then every time that you load it up and you look what you need to do, those weights and repetitions are there for you to follow, whether you're having a bad day or not. Now, that's not to say you can't drop the weight, and we'll talk about that. But that will come in the next step. First things first, start measuring because what gets measured gets managed, and then you can progress. So, if you haven't been doing that, make sure you log your next workout and share your results with the group. Every time you log a workout, it will give you like a little summary. If you've hit like a PR for weight, then it will tell you. And if you've hit like a PR for training volume, it will give you like a little reward. So, make sure you screenshot that, send it to the group, share it, and then you can move on to the next step. Okay. If you're just kind of following along, you're not part of the membership, or you used to be part of the membership, you don't have access to the app anymore, use a book, download like a £10 tracking app, or just use your notes. Make sure you're tracking because without that, you're going nowhere. Right. Once you've then done that task, once you've followed the no, you circle back round, you can go to yes, you logged it accurately. We can then start looking at training methods, okay, and how to progressive overload and make progress in your lifts and your training every single week, okay? So, if the reps are feeling a bit too easy, so let's say the training app says to do 12 to 15 reps on an exercise, okay? And it feels just too easy. You haven't really pushed yourself. You're kind of doing the exercise, and at the end of the exercise, you go, well, yeah, it was all right. You need to increase the weight, okay? So let's say, for example, you were lifting, 20 kg on the leg extension. You went, oh, okay, you know what? 12 repetitions of this isn't too bad. You then move up to 28 or 30, okay? See how that feels. If you're able to do 12 repetitions of that and it's quite easy, it doesn't feel like it's pushed you or exerted you, then you go up again, okay? Don't just go through the motions of lifting. Let me just make sure that's. Don't just go through the motions of lifting because then, like, it's not actually making progress. It's not pushing the muscles to grow. Like, it's just pointless, okay? So make sure that you're always assessing and analyzing yourself when you do each rep and set. Um, Improve your form. So tut, time under tension. So what you could do, again, going back to that kind of bad day analogy, let's say you had a bad day and you didn't want to push for a higher weight. You didn't want to increase weight. Maybe you feel a little sore. What you could do is just increase your time under tension. So use a weight that you're used to using. So let's say again, your average is 20 kg on the leg extension. Stick at that 20 kg, but just slow the tempo down. So rather than just going through the reps, one, 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 slow it down. Lift your legs up and then count five, four, three, two, one. And you go again. That'd be one repetition. The time under tension still puts enough pressure or demand on the muscles to grow, and you'll feel it a lot more. It'll be way more intense than your regular workout. So this is again a way if you didn't want to just increase the weights, or you feel like you've increased the weight so many times that you can't increase it anymore, start to improve your time under tension. Take it slower. Whether you want to take it slow on the way up and down, or if you want to do nice and explosive on the way up of a movement, and then you count yourself down nice and slow on like the decline or what we call eccentric. That's what you can do. Okay, so change your time under tension. Another way that you could do is you could add reps and sets to your workout. So let's say, for example, the app's telling you to do 12 reps, but you've increased the weight and you can only hit eight. Fine, because doing those eight repetitions has allowed you to lift heavier. And also by pushing towards anything over kind of 6 reps, you're making progress. Okay. 6 to 8 reps is kind of like your minimum or on increasing like your muscle mass. Yeah. Anything below that, it's just kind of strength work if you're pushing really heavy. So if it's allowed you to push heavier, then that's fine. If you're having again like a bad day or you're doing like a deload week, then what you want to do is, increase the reps. Maybe you're doing 8 reps and you just want to increase it to 12. That's absolutely fine. The app is there as a guidance and like a blueprint. If you feel like on the day you want to make some changes, just log it. Okay. As long as it allowed you to incorporate some of these different training methods, then do it. Remember, 1% wins compound over time. So even if you're doing like 1.25 kg for like progressive overload, or you're improving like your time under tension, you've started to do like 3, 2, 1 on an exercise, your negative training, or if you added sets and reps, it takes time to start seeing progress. Okay. It's not going to happen. If your goal is to hit like 100 kg on bench, it's not going to happen in a few weeks. It's going to take time. It's going to take a combination of different training methods. And then once you kind of slowly get there, before you know it, you'll be there. Okay. So if you don't do any of these things and you haven't been progressively overloading, you've just been going through the motions, then what you need to do is press no, or you follow the no arrow. You pick one on your next workout and you focus on that. So let's say you've never done anything like this before. What you're going to do is you're going to improve your time under tension, for example. Next time you go to the gym, all you're going to do is choose 1 or 2 exercises where you're just going to take it slower on the way down, or the eccentric part of the movement. You can take it nice and slow. And that's going to be an adaptive form of training and progressive overload. Okay. So again, just as a side note as well, progressive overload doesn't just mean, increasing the weight all the time. It could be increasing your volume or the way you train. Okay. It's not just increasing the weight, right? Because if that was the case, then we'd all be lifting like 1,000 kg because we'd be always increasing the weight, right? But it doesn't happen like that. Okay. Once you've done that, you can then follow yes. Now, once you follow that yes, we're going to be looking at a 6 to 8 week period of progress. Okay. So have the weights increased? Has the form improved? Are you feeling stronger? Once you've then hit those 6 to 8 weeks, you can then move on to the next, or you can focus on the next one. But until that, just stick to the basics. Get your training locked in, make sure you're following your calendar, and make sure that you're picking one or two of these ways to change up your training, but also see progress in other areas than just increasing weights because it will plateau. Okay. Then once you've hit this stage, which is a little bit controversial, but it's your recovery and sustainability. Because the thing is that the reason this has become kind of like the last step of this is because until you've done the basics, you're not doing too much out of the ordinary anyways. You should be able to hit and still follow all of this masterclass without doing any work on your sleep, your daily steps, deload weeks, or like, focusing on all of the shiny things. This should just be part of your basic routine without making major life changes. And that's the thing is like what we're talking about here is the sustainability of it and the longevity. So you want to master these basics first. So if I go back, you want to master these first three steps first before you start like really going in and being like, right, I need to fix my sleep. I need to start doing these steps. I need to start doing deload weeks, start changing it all up. You don't need to do it because that's when the sustainability drops. That's when you stop training, you fall off because there's all too much going on at the minute. You're already stressed about work, family, bills, whatever it is. You don't then need to go ham on all of these other things. So get the basics done first, build good foundations. Think about, getting a calendar in place, setting a routine, tracking your workouts, then start to play progressive overload. And then once you've done that, when you feel like it's in a good place, once you feel like you don't have to think about those things anymore, then you focus on your sleep. Then you focus on your daily steps. Then you focus on maybe getting a deload week in. So deload weeks, maybe 3 weeks you're pushing, you're progressively overloading. Then on your deload week, maybe like the last week of the month, you then just take it nice and light, allowing your body and your muscles to recover. Because this is the thing. If you haven't hit 6 to 8 weeks of consistency of your training, then what the hell are you deloading for? You haven't even pushed your muscles to allow for that deload week. If you're struggling with your sleep, then yes, you want to get your sleep in a good position so then you can make it to the gym. But I wouldn't be, going crazy in on sleep if or recovery if you haven't even given the muscles a reason to recover. So that's where that's coming from. Yes, you want to obviously improve your sleep and your sleep quality all the time, but the thing is that if you're really focusing on kind of like post-training sleep and recovery or deload weeks, you need to give the muscles a reason to do that first. When it comes to like daily steps, again, that's just kind of like your habits. That's like the next level, the next thing. And remember, growth is in recovery. Just because someone goes to the gym 7 times a week doesn't mean that they're going to be any more muscular, any more aligned to their goals than someone who goes twice a week. Okay. Someone who does 2 full body training sessions, focuses on their recovery, has all of the basics right, will probably be like way more ahead of the person who just trains 7 days a week and just shows up for the sake of showing up. Okay. Because there's a plan in place, they followed the system and it's sustainable to their lifestyle and their life. Okay. So once you've done these steps, make sure that you're messaging me as you go along. If you have any questions, again, always message me or comment down below if you're just following along with the series. Make sure that you've got this system in place, okay? So this is the training masterclass. These are the steps that you need to take. Once you start following these, taking these seriously, you'll then see yourself moving into the next direction. So by the end of this training masterclass, you should have your workout scheduled. You should have your workouts tracked. You should start to be seeing progress within 6 to 8 weeks. And then once you do that, you then focus on your sustainability and how to make it last for a long time. Guys, thank you for watching this third round of the masterclasses. Let me know how you're getting on. Make sure you message me along the way. I'll see you in the next one.